different today. Hello. Hey guys. Hold on, plug this in. Woo! Okay. All right. We're gonna do like this live is not gonna be as long as our normal lives are. I did not finish the book. Tessa's laughing because she saw me have to repeat pages and pages and stuff. It's taken me so long to get through it because I'm trying to like learn enough to be able to lead a conversation, but I mean, either I had to read the same pages over and over again out loud and then try to explain them to Tessa, who then asked me questions that I couldn't answer, or I fell asleep. Many times. I tried, guys. I am so sorry that I didn't finish this one. Can you pass it to me, by the way? Yeah. Thank you. So this live will not be as long about the book, but I figured we can have like, since we didn't have our first, like our 30-minute chat session on Wednesday, we could have like our first like catch up, 15, 20 minutes. You did this yourself, man, by putting this book on your book list. I know I did, and I put other books on my book list because of recommendations from other people.
Remember I asked you who suggested this book?
You okay? Peanut Gallery, we'd appreciate the comments. If you're going to be on the live, be on the live. Don't worry, Alberto, I finished reading so long ago that I forgot what I read, basically. Okay, you slept. I fell asleep to the musings of the universe. Yes. I only finished until chapter 10. It's good, but so hard to read. Guys, I think this book can be... I'm going to finish reading it because I'm starting to get really fascinated. I just finished Black Holes, and now we're moving into... what's the next chapter called? The Origin and Fate of the Universe. Thought it was hilarious that he talks to the Pope, and that he was like, I'm not going to talk what I talk about. And then Arrow... Like, I cannot wait... To like finish reading it, but to read it in this format was very difficult for me. But we're going to use this, guys. We're going to use this as an experience. This was an opportunity for us to read something many of us would not have picked up, and some of us really found a fascination and understanding of this material. And that's a good thing. Remember, reading is a way to expand your mind, expand your world, look at things differently, expand your compassion. And we tried that. And in the glorious attempt, failure is not an option. It's not a thing, because we attempted gloriously. I'm going to finish this book, but as you guys can... Well, those suggested books don't feel attacked at all. You know I was kidding, right? Anyone who suggested books, I'm literally messing around. Like, that was a joke. Okay. I love how Hawking's still very inclusive and doesn't rule out the existence of a superior being. Yes, actually, it was Tessa who was telling me that he's not an atheist. He actually feels that his research and dive into the understanding of the universe has made him more understanding and more, inclined to believe. Unless that's changed.
It has changed.
But he says it's changed throughout his life, as Tessa's telling me. Like, at points in his life, he's like, I'm a atheist. And other times he's like, nah, there's no way. So I think that's pretty cool. Even Stephen Hawking is constantly learning, and that's something I think he's always preaching, is that idea that there's always more questions and more things to find out. I'm glad you guys know, Rosende reads it's not preach failure. Exactly. Failure means you gloriously attempted, and that's what we're always going to try doing. So isn't the first nonfiction book that we've read, but was really hard, probably the most difficult. In terms of content, yes, this is the most difficult we have read and probably will read. I don't see us attempting a book like this for a bit. Not again. But I'm very excited for the next one. The next one is kind of more back into our wheelhouse and more back into the type of stuff we normally read, like reading, have seen movies and stuff about. I feel at my best concerning to literature. I've been reading more than ever before. That is incredible. Congratulations. It's a big step. And I bet you can recognize, a friend of mine recommended brief answers to the big questions of Stephen Hawking. That's awesome. We should look at that. But, Guys, I promise you, no more science, physics, torture. I promise. I promise you not for... If we read anything scientific, it'll be science fiction that will be about, like, you know, similar to Star Wars or something. We won't read anything about quantum theory. Okay, guys, will everyone join me? I'm sorry, everyone, not guys. Everyone, will everyone join me in just giving ourselves a good... Go us! We tried to read a book about science. And some of us understood it. Yeah, and we gloriously attempted this so we could all have a good laugh. We could be like, wow, I've never read or studied anything like this. I didn't even take physics in high school. I took chemistry and biology. I didn't take physics. So a lot of these concepts were not for me. But that's okay. That is okay, right? This is also a lesson in that a lot of us everyone has different interests, understandings, and talents. And some people have an incredible talent for this type of material, which is, like, to me, amazing. And some people don't. And that's okay. So, let's just check in real quick. How was your week, aside from reading this long, torturous textbook that, for some reason, misled me to tell me that it was easier? I needed to read every word to understand. Not a light reading. Not a light reading. Physics is mandatory in my country. That's awesome. I bet social distancing and other basic scientific measures were standard in your country. Anyways, I'm on a roll right now. As you guys can see, I've had my coffee, but I have not eaten. I'm burning at fumes. All right, bring the champagne. Tessa, can you bring the champagne?
You were going to clap at me.
I was going to clap at you, but I was like, that's extremely rude and degrading. I would never do that. So
I would have appreciated it.
Tessa would have appreciated that. Would have been awesome. But don't we all feel smarter for having read this book, The Kender? Thank you. Remember what I always say. Any obstacle is just an opportunity kind of hidden or looks scary at first. So this was an opportunity for some of us to maybe discover we have a knack for understanding quantum theory and stuff like this. And some of us, it was like, whoa, cool. All of those science movies we watch that sound really cool. Some of them don't make any sense. That's funny. And for some of us, it was like, I committed to this book. I'm going to finish this book. I'm going to finish this book. I have no idea what I just read, but I'm going to finish this book. And that's okay too, guys. That is more than okay. Hey, I recently found out about your book club and that you're reading A Brief History in Time. I just wanted to thank you because you gave me a motivation to finish this amazing book. See? Undermead, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed this book. And to anyone that did, good for you. Like, I enjoyed parts of this book. Literally, it was like, some parts I was like, this is so cool. This makes sense. And then some parts I was like, literally, I was like, that makes more sense. Okay. Oh, no. There we go. Okay. I don't know why this made it easier. You know? Your week was boring. Oh, I'm sorry. Super relaxing. A lot of online shopping on Amazon for no reason. Dory, if your first name's Dory, yes. Amazon and I are close friends at this point. Got some new stuff for my car. Very excited. I got this weird random thing that projects waves on the ceiling. Don't leave me alone with the computer. It was eventful. Got a new baby cousin. Hey! Started introducing Harry Potter to her siblings while the mom and baby are in the hospital. The fact that you have the opportunity to introduce something as awesome as Harry Potter to a new generation of creative, interested minds is so awesome. Congratulations. Next year in Germany for the Mortal Hunter, for Dusseldorf, they have to invite me. I would love to go to Dusseldorf. I love Germany, one of my favorite countries. I've been doing lots of painting and drawing this week. Awesome. Again with the harassing Tessa Rosende. Oh, her last name's not Rosende. It's Mossy.
That's a third time.
It'll be Mossy forever. It always stuns me how in the US you can choose not to study something. Well, yeah, I guess. Actually, funny story. In high school, I was supposed to study Spanish 4 AP, but I was like, I speak Spanish. My whole family speaks Spanish. I could study Spanish in college. I'm going to take acting too. And they were like, you know, Alberto, you should really take Spanish. Colleges really want to see that third year of a language on there. And I'm like, I understand that, but I speak that language. So to me, it seems like colleges might think I'm lazy. And they're like, well, we just really think, I'm like, I'm going to take acting too. And they're like, well, that's more of like an elective class. Yeah, no, but I already took all my things, so I want to take acting too. And they're like, one more time, we're really going to advise. I'm like, thank you so much for your advice. I'm going to take acting too. And then I took acting too. So I guess, yeah, you can choose to, if you can like put your foot down enough, they let you. Some of us realize we should have probably failed 10th grade physics. Maybe. Some of us are Sheldon. And if you are Sheldon, hell yeah, I think every group needs a Sheldon. The quantum mechanics stuff made me think of Ant-Man and Avengers Endgame. Literally, I was like, when is he going to start talking about Tony Stark? Read 1Q84 by Murakami, highly recommended. I actually was given that book. It's in my bookshelf. Jojo, we might have recommendations for next year. Thank you for that recommendation. It's been a week since I've started working again. Some stores opened up after more than 2 months of lockdown, so there's that kind of stressful, but everyone's being careful. Got to see your friends. Hell yeah. The book. Last week too. I enjoyed parts. Question for y'all. If you would be able to travel to the past, where would you go? Clarissa, this is talking about, I guess that works. Where would you go? I don't know. Where would I go? T, where would I go if I can go to the past?
We didn't talk about this when we watched Midnight in Paris.
Yeah. Where would we go? Would we go to Paris in the 20s? Or would we go to like...
You said you wouldn't want to go too far back.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go too far back because I would want to be able to bathe and use toilet paper and a few other things.
Well, we said the 20s would be...
We did say the 20s would be lit and we would love to drink bathtub gin. Yeah. Okay. Everyone, let's give a round of applause to Anna Cat Fernandez and anyone else who did finish the book. Tessa. Thank you. You guys really are awesome. I'm going to finish it. Maybe by the next live, you'll be like, oh, you finished it and you read the other ones. Cool. It may be possible to travel into the past. Hold my beer. That's the thing that, okay. I'm going to keep reading really quickly, then I'll dive into my own things about the book. I've been cooking healthy recipes, reading a lot. I finally started exercising for the first time in my life because I was inspired by a YouTube video featuring you showing your workout routine. Oh my gosh. Awesome. Annabelle, that is... the 3 pillars of life, mind, body, spirit. You should always be trying to build all 3 of them, and they work together. And sometimes from the body, you can learn about the spirit, and from the spirit, you can learn about the mind. Really cool. If you want to follow other people that are really good at being inspirational, giving fitness a very easy face, because I feel like some fitness people make it seem like you have to be born a fitness person to be in fitness, or the way that they train. Even as someone who trains regularly, it feels like unattainable. My friend Jordan Morello, he has a whole workout thing, a whole routine you can access online with a food plan, but also he posts daily inspiration. He's just one of the all-around best people I know. So if you want someone else to follow that is just super cool, fun, makes fitness accessible, gives a lot of dope recipes. He has a cookbook coming out. Jordan Morello. Maybe I'll post a link to his page on my story here in the Rosende Reads. The love-hate relationship that I've generated for this book. Guys, this season has been difficult for us. We read a couple of books. I guess every season we have one that's a little more difficult. But this year we've had 2 so far. At least in my eyes. We've had Little Women and then this. So in America, do you not have to try all the subjects for a few years before you pick what you want to do? Well, you do. I was required to take certain classes, but at a certain point, after you finish your basic rules of requirement, your basic set of required classes, you can then start to choose. But the curriculum in the United States is different state to state, and sometimes county to county within that state. And then the curriculum is different depending on the type of school. So if you're in a public school versus a private school versus a charter school versus a denominational school. So I went to Catholic school, so the curriculum there naturally lent itself to being slightly different because they leave room open for theology, which I don't know what that curriculum looks like in other forms of school in the United States. But yeah, I think one of the most difficult things with education in the United States is that every state has the right to decide what their curriculum is for their state. One, because they need to learn about the history of their specific state, the different things that make their state special, its production and whatnot. But then, too, because every state has its own individual history. But unfortunately, that leaves a lot of holes for the general knowledge of the country. Some states might do better in geography or math, and other states might, I'm getting into a whole thing that I don't know a lot about. But I spent this week taking part in a charity readathon for NHS Charities, which is great fun. Amy Lumsden, that's dope. That sounds really cool. What was that? Can you tell us more about that? In high school, I often thought how physics related to a lot of philosophy. Now, reading this book, the feeling increased. Cal Caesar, that's dope. Can you tell us a little more about that? Oh my gosh, I am so far behind in comments, guys. I'm gonna skip. Sorry. I'm scooting up a little bit. Okay, you gotta have toilet paper. We're back on to where I was. I started watching The Expanse while reading this book. Really good show. Very cool. The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Zafón. I think I've actually heard of that book too. Just finished Blindness. Awesome. Yeah, theoretically, time traveling to the past creates an oxymoron. Like, you can't be somewhere you've never been. You playing guitar again? Ukulele? Hell yeah. When he goes like, thus the possibility of time travel remains open, but I'm not going to bet on it. My opponent might have the unfair advantage of knowing the future. I finally started working out this week, and I've been taking my French lessons pretty seriously during the quarantine. Awesome! And, Suchi Love, I bet, Suki? I don't know how to pronounce your handle, I'm sorry. But I bet you there are other members of this club that are French, or if you ever wanted someone to converse with and just practice. I don't know, I felt like that's one of the things I liked when I was in Argentina, was that everyone was speaking the language. So conversing helped take whatever I was learning grammatically and stuff and put into practice, especially when slang and stuff comes into words. So that's awesome. Jordan, I follow him. It's so good. His post, it's also so funny. He's just an awesome person to follow. One of the people that you're like, oh, thank God this exists on Instagram and not just other things. I get to go back on a film shoot. Hey, for a social distance PSA video, which I'm so happy to be back on. I got to help develop the script and was one of the 2 leads in New York City. Asha, that's awesome. Good stuff. People need to read that. And Texas decides what the textbooks are for the whole country, which is super weird. Yeah, right, text instruments, I don't get it. I keep missing updates for this, but I want to actively join. How can I stay up to date? Danielle Vandenbrink. Hi, welcome to Rosende Reads. This is kind of what we do once a week, and we talk about generally a book when we really like it, and all of us have read it. You are coming in at a very, probably not the best showcase of what this book club is. But generally, we meet on Sundays unless I post otherwise. All the information is posted here on my Rosende Reads story. There are a couple of other accounts you can follow. I know there's literally all of the thoughts from my brain just went. I have no idea what I was talking about. How can you stay up to date? There we go. There's a few Rosende Reads accounts that post Rosende Reads daily. They post things to keep everyone up to date. I'm sure they'll reach out to you, or you can find them and follow them and whatnot. We are reading In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. That'll be the next book, probably starting today or tomorrow. You have until Sunday. We'll read probably about 100 pages, maybe a little less, and that'll be what we'll talk about on Sunday. So hopefully we see you there. Listen, I want to know about the books we're going to read after In Cold Blood. What you got planned? The name remains. Why are you trying to call me out like that? I've got a few things planned, to be honest with you guys, but time paradox. Thank you, Jordana. I knew oxymoron didn't make sense. I was like, that's not the right word. Readathon had 3 prompts. Read a book with a brave character that intimidates you, and one that has an H or S in the title. Instead of buying new books, we read old ones to fit the prompts in. That's so cool. You can't be somewhere you've never been, but that's what the future is, right? I'm trying to join this. How to stay up to date. Sorry, I saw that again. Hope you heard what I said before. And if anyone would like to reach out to our new member, Danielle, and just kind of give her the lowdown, that'd be awesome. Thank you, guys. I remember that movie. That seemed pretty cool with Dina. I'm a law student, but I'm also majoring in English at the same time, and I'm really thinking about starting writing fantasy. I want my protagonist to be autistic like me. That's awesome. I don't know how many books have that type of, like, a protagonist in that way. And you're studying law and English. That's, you really like words. Good for you. I approve. Currently reading Animal Farm by George Orwell. It's a small book for some reason. I'm taking forever to read it. That book is fascinatingly interesting, Caitlin. I liked Animal Farm, and actually my high school did a production of it. I wasn't in it, but they did a production of Animal Farm, and I thought it was pretty cool. Actually, one of my cousins started reading 1984, so this week I'm going to start reading that book again so that him and I can have conversations about it, because he didn't do it with Rosende Reads. Talking about lockdown easing up, and India is stuck for like another 2 weeks. Jordana, we're stuck here. I mean, things are opening up in LA, but generally they think the stay-at-home order is going to be at least until July. So, we're there with you. Actually, Alberto, I did a quick research on Google and found that philosophy of physics is probably the oldest philosophy branch. Yeah, Big Bang and Big Crunch sound like awesome names for chocolate bars. There's already Crunch Bar, so a Big Crunch just sounds like the one that they sell. It's like this big instead of like a regular chocolate bar size. Instead of like that, it's like that. As big as this iPad. You're almost at the end of Many Lives, Many Masters. Awesome. We might read that book. It's kind of Tuesdays with Maury vibes in a way, because of how much they learn in the spiritual aspect of the book. Yeah, great book. Great book. We want the list. I know you want the list. We still have one more book. Give me a break. Give me a break. All right. Okay, I guess it's that time again. Let's put hashtag RRS4, Rosende Reads Season 4. If you use that hashtag, RRS4, or Rosende Reads Season 4 if you want to write it out, put your book suggestions there. How does that sound? And then we can all start suggesting books, and I can hopefully, either by halfway through In Cold Blood or the end of Cold Blood before we take our little summer break, I can give you guys a list. So, RRS4 or Rosende Reads Season 4. Okay. My live with FLCT. Yeah. Yeah, thank you guys for welcoming everyone. That's awesome. Fort Lauderdale Children's Theater, now known as the Florida Children's Theater, was kind of it was the place that helped foster my love for theater. And I had great directors in middle school and high school. But it was the conjunction with what I was experiencing at high school in my theater group there, playing sports as well, and then the theater group at Florida Children's Theater that really cemented that this was my path. So they're incredible. And if anyone hasn't seen that interview, I suggest go check it out. If anyone knows anyone that would like to donate to something, to a cause that is so important now more than ever, theater with his ability to communicate, teach, connect. Florida Children's Theater, they're an incredible organization. So nice to see so many new members. I agree. Feed him, Tessa. Someone said that.
Feed him?
Yes. Can you guys tell I'm hungry?
Why is it my job to feed you?
Yeah, it is not Tessa's job to feed me. Sometimes, though, she has to remind me. She'll be like, you're in a bad... Did you eat today? And I'll be like... She's like, Alberto, it's 6 p.m. You're not allowed to leave the house without eating. We've talked about this.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about anything serious.
Yeah, you can't talk about anything serious or ask me more than like one question about something, or else I become like not a nice person. What, is Kat writing a book? One there is going to be from Finn? She never tells us anything. You're like did you have a nap today? You need one, kid. Yeah, I am, except it's like, did you eat a sandwich today? You need one. I think we should make a list of female writers. Well, as we know, we did, season 2 was more female writers and writers of color. And season 1 was more just classic literature, both British and American. Some of our favorite books, I think, have been from non-American writers and, and female writers as well. I mean, to this day, Song of Solomon is one I loved Song of Solomon. And then I also loved Things Fall Apart. We might have on the list the second of that trilogy of books, because it'd be cool if eventually we read the whole trilogy. But time. The pie that Tessa did last time on her IG story was really cool. Okay, we're going to talk about the book for a little bit now. Oh, Watership Down. Yeah, I remember when she was reading that on set. I've heard it was really good. Have I read Thug by Angie Thomas? No. We loved Angie Thomas, though. Can we read some poems? Always asking the good questions. Of course we could read some poems. Things Fall Apart was so good, so that second one. But what do you guys say that we talk about this book for a little bit now? For at least like 10, 15 minutes. Because there are a few things that I do want to discuss. One of the things being just the actual understanding that black holes and stuff hadn't even really been discovered when they were creating all of the theories and rules that black holes had to follow. How? Why? Incredible. Wait a second. So, Annabelle, you became fluent in English? That is amazing. So, yeah, what are you guys, anyone that finished the book or has positive things to say about their reading experience or anything they read, just something good, what are your thoughts? What are things that stuck with you? What are questions that you might want to pose to the whole group? And maybe someone can answer them? That's why I relate physics to philosophy. Interesting. Captivating. Yes, I thought it was captivating at times, where I'm like, this is just absolutely fascinating. And the fact that science is a world where proving right is hard, but if something proves wrong, they're like, okay, that's done. But they're like, well, this exists if this works, and this whole theory works if this is right. So based on these understandings, we can say that this is how this should work. But if one of these things isn't right, or in this circumstance, and then he's talking about other universes. Cool. I read a little bit about Stephen Hawking's last paper on black holes and soft hair. It was really interesting. Oh yeah? Can you tell us more? Saw a scene in Star Trek Into the Darkness and got to explain it to my brother before it happened, which is pretty proud. That is so cool. One of my favorite books, so I'm biased. Well, Lexi, not all of us have the quantum understanding that you have, but I'm glad that we got to read it, and I'm glad you enjoyed it again. Or if you didn't read it again, I'm glad you still love it, and you were there to help and recommend things for us. Awesome. My biggest issue was understanding how they could calculate back to merely seconds after the Big Bang, because how can we do that when we don't know the size of it? I wish I could answer that question for you, but I can't. But I agree with you. The fact that, and then when he was talking about it, the anthropic view, where it was like, we see the universe the way it is because it's the way we see it, that we're here to experience it in a way, is the way I understood that. What? I just got so... I mean, like he said, because theories are always being changed to account for new observations, they never properly digested or simplified so that ordinary people can understand them. That's true. I enjoy the chapter on black holes the most because I already knew a bit about them, and that, I just find them fascinating. I wish I had something insightful and positive to say about this book, but unfortunately it was wasted on me. You know what, Abe Lumsden? I don't think it was wasted on you. I think, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. Million times bigger. Like, how the heck do you quantify that? I love when he says that and he's like, it's a 1 with 60 zeros. I'm like, thank you. Now I can at least look at that number. Thanks. Doesn't make any sense to me. I have no, like, I can't even really grasp the understanding of a billion. A billion seems like a ridiculous number. A billion. And then when you go into, like, the United States, the Democrats in the House propose and it passed in the House, probably won't pass in the Senate, but a bill that will, a stimulus bill of about $3 trillion. And I'm like, how do you quantify in your mind $3 trillion? Like, what does that even mean? How does that even look like? So when he's talking about all these numbers and time, it's amazing that some scientists have the ability to kind of disassociate from this very human thing we all feel, this thing of time and space, and recognize the I don't know, super cool. So basically, soft hair was all the matter that stuck to the event horizon of the black hole. Hawking believed quantum theory's statement of no information ever being destroyed completely. Right, matter cannot be created or destroyed. So it's like soft hair. Interesting. I almost played the song from The Big Bang Theory before this one, but I was like, that's a little too on the nose. So my favorite thing with this book is that Hawking anthropomorphizes the universe. It's not just an inanimate thing. It's a crazy, complicated, wonderful organism, not organism, beauty. Awesome. I found this book interesting, even though it was difficult to read. I always loved the universe and galaxies, so I was extremely impressed about how much it goes into theories about it. Well, it's funny because when I was reading it, I actually got an audiobook thinking it would be easier for me to read it and have someone else read it to me, because I can be like, oh, okay. But it was actually a condensed version of this book written later to kind of go into some theories that were very important in physics in this book and further develop them, called A Briefer History in Time. So much to my dismay, I sat in the car while I was driving for like a half hour trying to figure out what chapter I'm on. Like, why isn't it meeting up with my chapter, until I figured out it's actually a different book. Yeah. It's been a great week for me, guys. Any book or movie to recommend during quarantine? Yeah. Unorthodox was absolutely brilliant. It's cool because my research for Simon and my basic understanding of Judaism kind of helped with a lot of the concepts and stuff that you learn about the Orthodox Hasidic community we find in Brooklyn that the show's about. But I think the work is absolutely phenomenal. The actors are incredible. The writing is great. We get to learn about a world we don't really know about. I would recommend that. And I would recommend... Tessa, what else did we watch that was really good? Hunters on Amazon was pretty sick. I think we did. We'll stick with Unorthodox for now. I should have played it, this song. When he mentioned string theory, a part of my brain went, bazinga! I love the use of exclamation points there, because I feel like I totally felt that too. And the time travel chapter was my favorite. Although every time I read something about it, I have to remove pieces of my brain from the ceiling afterwards. Okay. So cool he explained the string theory after all these years of hearing about it on TBT, The Big Bang Theory. Yeah, I'm very excited to continue reading. Slowly. Yes, okay. I'm going to do a quick pitch. Thank you everyone who watched My American Identity Project. Thank you to everyone who's going to watch it. If you want to check it out, it's a documentary that my brother and I made together in the summer of 2016 before the election of Donald Trump in the United States. It's not a political documentary. We're not trying to prove one side right or wrong. We wanted to discover what the country felt it meant to be American. Not what the media was telling us, not what different political parties was telling us. We wanted to find out for ourselves. And Diego went on this search to do that, and I think he achieved something beautiful and inspirational. So if you want to check it out, links are in my Instagram bio, not Rosende Reads, mine. I'm waiting to watch the movie. I can't wait to watch the movie of Brief History in Time. Can't wait. Favorite quote. It is likely that the universe started out in a chaotic and disordered state. The imperfection of the universe brings me great comfort. I love that. Well, I think it's cool that he's like, it likely started out like this, but the question we're asking is, how did it start like this and end up to be this smooth, ordered universe? And then the chances of that happening. And then I like the idea that is kind of like mentioned, that what if God, whatever being some of us believe in, universe, and what if that being that created the universe literally made this universe so that we could experience it and grow and evolve? Like, that was a question he did pose in some way, or at least I extrapolated. I was like, that's something I'm going to take from there. Kind of cool if you think about it like that. I don't know. My mom and sis got the postcards. Hey. It's coming, Rita. It's coming. As a non-American, I found the documentary great. I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed it, because that's really cool. Hi, Issa. How long until the universe reverts back to its original form? That is something Tessa and I were talking about. Because I was like, wait, they understand the universe. When they were talking about the formation of different galaxies, right? And how it started from the expanding of the universe until those particles stopped expanding. And then as they were coming in and matter on the outside started to gravitationally attract, those particles started spinning. And then eventually became spinning so fast, met up with the gravity or whatever. And now it's a galaxy. Right? But then what happens when it stops? Like, does it stop spinning? I don't know. I agree. Like, the fact that they can kind of calculate when everything's going to... Like, the fact that they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. Our sun still has, 5,000 million years. I'm like, most time you say, 5,000 million years. What? Imaginary time is really the real time. I remember when I was taking math and they tried to talk about imaginary numbers. And I'm like, wait, if we can have imaginary numbers, are my answers ever really wrong? Obviously, because I didn't understand what imaginary numbers were. So when he's trying to explain imaginary time and used imaginary numbers to explain that, you can imagine I had no idea what was going on. Oh, that's awesome, Clarissa. We will have destroyed the earth before that, for sure. Tessa, what was your opinion of this book, hearing me complain about it and having a better understanding of general science, anatomy, and whatnot?
I felt like you were taking a course and you skipped all of the first half of the semester.
It felt like I was taking a course and skipped the first half of the semester. Now I know what that feels like, and that is right. That is exactly what that feels like. That's exactly what that feels like. I will not, and I plead the fifth. But that's exactly what that feels like. It's like I missed all of the vocabulary and base understanding and jumped right into the theory, and I'm like, oh man, I have to do 3 times as much work just to get a passing grade. And I failed. What?
So imagine if it was the non-brief.
Imagine if it was the non-brief history of time. Also, when he tells us to jump into a black hole to find out what happens, I'm like, no thanks. After the vivid spaghetti image he painted earlier in the book, I don't fancy becoming spaghetti. I agree. Although, I wonder about your conscious state. If that were to happen, would you be experiencing that moment of shredding throughout eternity? Right? Because time hasn't happened. So are you like, oh my gosh, I'm getting pulled apart over the rest of eternity? Or is it something that it just kind of happens like in movies where it feels like a second and you get transported through the wormhole to another period of time, to another place in the universe, and next thing you know, you're like, wow, I've lived 1,000,000 years in that one felt like nothing. Yeah, that poor astronaut, for real.
Remember, what was that movie where George Clooney floats off?
Gravity.
Terrible.
Yeah, oh yeah. The space, the vacuum that is space, the giant nothingness, scares the hell out of me. The future's an open road. Poor spaghetti astronaut. Can we have a moment of silence for the spaghetti astronaut? Okay. My maths teacher summed up imaginary numbers as the set of numbers that doesn't exist in space or time, but can be visualized. I guess that's why they literally call them imaginary, because we have to imagine them. I just don't understand how that works. Did I read The Curious Incident of a Dog in the Nighttime? It's a really good book. It's about 15 years old. Boy with autism spectrum that tries to solve who killed the dog. No, but isn't there a play?
Yeah, that's a play that I tried to take you to, remember?
Yes!
Yeah.
Yo. I know I've been mentioning we should read a play with Rosende
It
reads.
was amazing. Highly recommend.
Actually, alright. I get a lot of ideas and then I say them out loud and then people hold me to them. So I'm not going to say this idea out loud. I'm going to do some research on my own and I'm going to do some thinking and then I'll get back to you. Just if someone can remind me about this idea, that would be great, because I also have a theory where I just forget a lot of things. So I'm actually going to write it down. I'm going to write it down. All right. Because this idea could be really, really cool if it worked out properly. It requires other people. And those people are busy often. And then it also requires people that I like. So, we'll see. I'm kidding. That was also a joke. I've ordered the library about Mount Char. Alright, we have to be real about the library at Mount Char. I want everyone to read it in this book club. But I don't want anyone to read it that could try to make it a TV show or a movie before me. So, let's keep it hush from now on. I know this is going on Instagram Live, but thankfully, only our book club members tend to watch them. So, all right. Why do we remember the past but not the future? Awesome. Please, someone gift Alberto a pack of Post-its. I'll probably lose them, but that would be great. I mean, we'll read it together, but because I really want to read that book. We'll read it together, but we got to keep it hush-hush so that no one else is like, we should make this. And I'm like, no, I want to make it. So, it's between us. Becoming a secret book club? It's always been a secret book club. It's been pretty inclusively exclusive, you know? Mate, you can't tell me to read it, but then not write a screenplay about it. Literally, my dream job is to be a screenwriter, actor, director, and I'm older. All right, Asha, if you're gonna do it, no, you're not allowed. Sorry. It's already been done. Tessa's already writing it. Right, T?
Right.
That's right. So keep this. Not far from wrong, but all right. All right, we have about 10, 15 left because I actually started pretty on time this time. I didn't read the book, but I started pretty on time, so we're learning one thing at a time. Didn't finish the book, pardon me. There were a couple of things I wanted to talk to you guys about. Can you give me acting advice? It's always been my dream to be an actress. Read as many books as you can. Take in as many stories as you can.
Read some acting books.
Read some acting books. I mean, actually, I can go to my wall right now and, like, show you guys a couple that have been very helpful for me and Tessa. If you guys want to do that, we can go to the library real quick. Just 5 minutes late, Jordana. I'm learning. Yeah, that would be great. Is everyone okay with that? No. To you, finish the book. You can do it. I will finish this book. I don't like to leave books unfinished. So I will finish this book. And it will happen this week because I have a thing. If I put a book down for more than a week, I have to start from the beginning. And that's not okay with me. So I will finish this book this week, okay? Rita with the good questions. We will be starting, I will say this now, we will be starting In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. Crap, I put it away in this bookshelf and now I have to find it. Black bag. You know what? Let's just do this first. So, we're here at the acting book section of my library. It pretty much goes from there all the way down to here. We got Kurt Vonnegut in the middle giving us a smile. So, one of the books that I think every actor should read is Audition by Michael Shurtleff. It's the introduction by Bob Fosse, who if you guys don't know, you should look him up. He's awesome. And then the book itself gives you a very practical understanding of auditioning, but also it breaks down into 12 guideposts of things you should be thinking about when you're working and things you should have kind of nailed down. Tessa still uses them, and it's a really cool book. If you want to learn about like the history of acting in America, from an albeit like kind of a little biased perspective, The Fervent Years by Harold Clurman is pretty cool. Kind of talks about the development of the group theater, how they learned from this guy named Stanislavski. They break it down in a pretty cool way. The training of the American actor is pretty great because it has an in-depth breakdown of different methods of acting by professors of that method. So you've got Strasberg's method by Anna Strasberg. You have Stella Adler by Tom Oppenheim, one of her students. Meisner technique by Victoria Hart. She was actually my Meisner teacher. And then you also have interdisciplinary training. Fritz Ertl, one of my teachers in school, and Louis Sheeter was the head of the drama program at NYU at the time that I was there. I don't know if he still is. So that book is pretty cool. One, because it's a lot of my teachers that wrote them, and two, just a cool breakdown and understanding of the methods, how they kind of work. And then if you want, you could find books for those specific methods if there's one that kind of calls to you. Another one that I was recommended, I haven't finished reading it, but it seems pretty cool, is How to Stop Acting by Harold Guskin. I haven't finished that one. I found it, I thought it was pretty cool because he talks about how basically acting in a lot of art forms, you're doing it best when no one knows you're doing it. You know what I mean? Yes, for the newbies on here, the aesthetic was organized by my wonderful life partner, Tessa. So, the Artist's Way is in there as well. I actually have never done it. It was gifted to me, and I have to do it. Maybe I'll do it. We'll talk about that. It is, I will admit, it's been harder to get books. Thankfully, I have the library there. But yeah, it's been weird. Amazon's been annoying. The things you need, they don't have. The things you want, they do, but are overpriced. Like, I went to go buy dumbbells, and they are like 3 times what they normally should cost right now, which is... Oh my gosh, Maddie. Thank you for reminding me. I'm gonna go grab the book. Give me a second. Do you know where I put the book?
What book?
In Cold Blood?
No.
Because I brought it from Chicago, so it was in my Chicago books. But I put all those away, right?
Yeah, they're on the shelf. What color is it?
I think it's black.
Okay, well, that's not too many to look through then.
Living life without fear. Putting 5 carrots in my baby. Oh man, I can't find it. Alright. I can't find the book right now. I am sorry. So, if someone has the book open and has it in front of them, can you look approximately, I want to say 96 pages in from the last time I looked. Is that where the end chapter is? Is it green for you? No, mine was a black cover, I think. It's here. I know it's here. We don't have time for me to keep looking. That would be about the end of chapter 2. Okay? You know what, guys? Here's what we're going to do. start reading. I'm going to find my book and I will post on today or whenever I find it. I'll post about how far we read, but we know we're going to meet on Sunday. So try to read around 100 pages. That's pretty much what we're going to do. Yours is red. Is mine red? Okay. Beautiful. That's half the book. The entire book is 4 chapters. So yeah, we're going to read about 100 pages. Somewhere between 80 and 100. So if you get to 80, you probably did solid. But I'll definitely post how far we're going to read until you get that. Unless you read 100 pages in one sitting right now. Pretty cool. First chapter goes to page 85. Should we just go to page 85 then? Should we do the first chapter, break into this book, and then we can read more in the middle? Bros, I have the worst memory. You can ask Tessa. I have an amazing memory when it comes to certain things, and an awful memory when it comes to other things. Movies, actors, scripts, impeccable. Anything that matters or is tied to time, terrible memory. One of the reasons I like watches is because they help me navigate this world. All right, so let's read chapter 1 for now. I'm going to look at my book when I find it, and I will update that. But I will post. So, read chapter 1 of that book. To everyone that finished and enjoyed this book, I'm happy you did, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I hope that if you think it's something you can, hand to someone that they might really enjoy, awesome. For those of you that finished this book but hated it, congratulations. It proves that when you commit to something, even though arduous, you can still get through it, which I think is one thing books teach us. You read a bit of life, and sometimes life can be very complicated and confusing. But if you just keep your head down and keep turning the pages, eventually the book will be over. And maybe you can start a new one. And for anyone that didn't read this one and you're joining, I'm glad for you to join. Welcome. Anyone who's still here from before, why? Just kidding. How are you guys all still here? I love it. You have an almost photographic memory. That would be such a gift to me. To help us finish this mind-blowing torture that you still sort of liked, I might want to talk to people about that. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I think I'm very funny sometimes. I will finish, I promise. I'm working on a new project because my feature got canceled by COVID. It's a bunch of monologues about finding hope during the pandemic. Any advice? Tell the truth. The truth will always be the thing that kind of holds you to what your original idea is. Because sometimes I feel like when writing or performing, you want to put things that are like entertaining or, I don't know, just find stuff that really speak to you. But then again, if you're already doing it, I trust what you're going to do. I hope I can see it. Every season will have at least one. I feel so bad because the world speaks of Catch-22 in such an elevated light. And in this book club, it's the nickname we give the books we don't like. Wow, this is our Catch-22. It's funny because with Catch-22, you got to read the book to hate the book, but you hate the book so you don't want to read it. It's like a Catch-22. What? I'm not sick, you guys. I want to thank you, actually. This has been a very fun live, even though we didn't talk about the book. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. But I think, how many books are we in? We're like 20 books in, and this is the first book that's like this. This is pretty good, right? For me? It's not great, but it won't happen again. No, believe it or not, Danielle, we all read it as a book club, and I think since this book club has a lot of, also there's a language barrier at times, but no, I couldn't click into the humor. I didn't get it, so I think I need to reread it at some point in a couple years when I've kind of forgotten the experience of reading it the first time. What does my jumper say? Oh, it says wavy baby. Tessa and I got together in Toronto.
I don't think I was there.
You weren't?
No. It's just one of my favorite sweaters.
Oh yeah, Tessa wears a lot. Oh, Jade was with me. Whoa, the 26th book? Gosh, we did 26 books? It's a quarter of 100. Oh, like more. Do you hate or like auditioning? I think for every actor it's a love-hate relationship because you put so much work into things and at times they don't pan out most of the time. But personally, I really enjoy auditioning. I like auditioning in person. Sometimes, it depends on the role though. Sometimes I think it's better to do a tape. Sometimes I think it's better to be in person. But yeah, I think as an actor, you have to find a way to enjoy it because that's kind of what you're going to be doing most of the time. Most of the time you're going to be auditioning. So you need to figure out something that works for you that makes you see it as fun. For me, I see it as an awesome opportunity to get to dive into a world for a little bit. And if I get to stay there, cool. If not, I got to be in it. So that helps. And then sometimes it's like the only acting you get to do is when you're auditioning. So you're like, okay, I get to act, I get to act, I get to act. And then you finally get the job and you're like, thank God I get to act. But would you like to read another language? Ooh. I probably have to read in Spanish if I read in any other language because I have no other understanding of other languages grammatically or to read them. Like French, I can't even really pronounce. By looking at it, I mean, if someone said it for me, I could, but to read, I couldn't read it. Okay, actually, this is actually a really cool story. For Fort Lauderdale Children's Theater, or Florida Children's Theater, they're the same theater. They just changed the name on me. That first audition I ever had for them was for the musical Les Miserables. I auditioned for the role of Marius. And I went with my cousin Victor. Did I have coffee? I look exhausted, bro. Thanks, man. I went with my cousin Victor, and I was super nervous. I got really nervous in the audition. I started shaking. So my cousin, who eventually joined the National Guard and now works as an air traffic controller, was like, take a deep breath and then hold it for 5 seconds. So I did that, and it actually slows your heart rate. So he was like, that's what they tell shooters and stuff in the military to help slow their heart rates. So for me, that has actually been a huge tip going into audition rooms. I'm trying to learn a bit of Spanish. Awesome. And yeah, someone said I do understand a little bit of Italian. I do. I speak a little Italian. Sorry, Tessa and I just watched Inglourious Bastards. I speak a little Italian. Tessa speaks second best. Stella speaks third best. Like I said, third best. Just keep your freaking mouth shut. I love when he says that. Les Mis was the first musical you've ever seen. Oh, beautiful musical, right? All right, we actually have 1 minute left, and it is counting down. Yeah, Jordan, try that technique. It really helps, and if you do it 2 or 3 times in succession, you can imagine that if you did it once, it helps. 3 times really gets it. Also, it forces your breathing in a way to relax. Sto imparando a parlare italiano. Sto imparando. Thanks, Rita. Okay, so like we said, we have 30 seconds left. Let's crush it really quickly. We are reading about 100 pages. For sure, read chapter 1. If it's going to go more or less than that, I'm going to be posting. But read chapter 1 of In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. After which, after you finish reading it, we should watch the movie with Philip Seymour Hoffman because it is a truly masterful performance. He won the Academy Award for it. As I always say, keep reading, keep exploring, keep learning, keep growing. Continue to be positive force of changes in your communities. And for some of us, that means staying home and staying safe. I love you all. I will see you next week. Goodbye.